I had a friend send me a text the other day saying that she was going to New York for a vacation pretty soon, and it got me thinking about the last time I went there and just the feeling of claustrophobia that I got just walking around the giant buildings. And I was thinking to myself, I was reading my Bible at work, just about how look at every big city, if you look at all the movies that are out there about superheroes, you see Batman, he's got Gotham City, and you see Superman, he's got Metropolis. For every city, there's a superhero. There's always somebody watching out for everyone. In such a big area with so many people, there's got to be someone around. Because with so many things going on around you, there's so many things you have to worry about, so many things you have to watch out for. And I wonder, just in this day and age, who's our superhero? Who do we have to look into? Who do we have as Christians? Who do we have to look to as a superhero? Now, we can all go for the obvious answer from what we're looking at here, but for people who don't read the Bible on a regular basis, if they read through it, there's not anyone really there. You read through it, you have all the law, you have all the prophets, you have all these people, these inspirational people, but nothing that really measure up to a guy in a blue uniform flying around the city and doing miraculous things of saving people. You don't get to there until you get to the Gospels. But earlier on in the Bible, we can go to the book of Judges. And as we go into the book of Judges, we read about a man named Samson. Now, Samson was probably the closest we can get to a true run-of-the-mill, things we see in comic book superhero. This guy was at the top of his game at everything. He was doing things that would just shock you at the time. He was the kind of guy that would tear a lion like he would tear a baby goat. He took 300 foxes, tied them together with torches, and let them run through the Philistine fields and burn up everything. He boasted that he killed 10,000 men with a jawbone of a donkey, and later on, when he was captured by the Philistines, he was able to push down the pillars of where they were at and won everything for Israel. That's awesome. That's the closest I can ever think of seeing an olden day guy, superhero. You might as well just wore a cape with an S on the back like Superman. It was Samson. It was the closest thing to it that I can think of. But we don't see that these days. We don't look at Jesus like he is the superhero that we know him as. We look at him, we see pictures of him all the time, of this meek man walking around with sheep and a white robe with a clean-shaven beard. Looks like he wouldn't hurt a fly, be your best friend kind of guy. We don't see him as the warrior that he is. That we know that he is God, and besides being the loving God that he is, he's also the just, mighty God that we know, that we sing about, that we hear about all the time. And in the book of the Revelations, Jesus Christ is a warrior. He comes down triumphantly, and we don't see him as that. And moving on, as I was walking through New York, I was looking up at them, I was remembering those memories of that. I was just thinking about how God made me, how God made us. And it says in Romans 8:31, what then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who is against us? He who did not spare his own son, but delivered him over for us all. How he will not also with him freely give us all things? Who will bring a charge against God's elect? God is the one who justifies. Who will bring a charge against God's elect? When I read that part of the verse, I was thinking about the big wedding for the princes in England. I can't remember his name offhand, forgive me. But I was thinking, if there was a group of people of that size in that big cathedral, and one man stood above them all. And in this time and place, there's so many people who completely just throw away the Word of God, that just will not accept it for anything. A man walks up in front of the world today and says, who will bring a charge against God's elect? It just sounds like something a superhero would say. Just charge in and say something as powerful as that. Say, God is the one who justifies me. God is the one who elected me. Can we not see that as Christians, that's who we are? And it says here, but in all these things we are overwhelmingly conquered through him who loved us. For I am convinced that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor things present, nor things to come, nor powers, nor height, nor depth, nor any other created thing will be able to separate us from the love of God. That's incredible to me. And I hope that's incredible to you too. That's one of my favorite verses I can think of in the Bible. The thing is, we will be charged. People are going to argue with us. People are not going to agree with us. We see it every day that even in our nation right now, Christianity is one of the most unliked religions, probably the most unliked religion in the world today. We're going to be attacked. We're being persecuted more than we even know. And there's some people that they know that God is there and they just don't want to accept him. Or their hearts are so hardened by everything else, they don't even know he's there. I kind of lean more towards the first one. I was watching a preacher talk on YouTube during work one day, and it was a man in England, and he was street preaching. And for some street preachers that I have listened to, I have an envy towards them because of their courage to speak out for God. This preacher was saying that all humans are born to sense God. We were born knowing that there is one, but somehow along the way we lose that. We're born to sense him, that he's there. We're not just born in here just thinking that we're alone in the first place. God would not bring us here and make us feel completely alone. Going further from that part, the pastor goes on to say that if we look at a building, any kind of building in New York, all the buildings are huge. We know this. They're all 50 stories, more than that high. They're huge. But every time we look at a building, you have to know that every building has had a builder. Sometimes we don't see that. We see all the construction, we saw the foremen out doing their jobs, but we don't take the time to notice that there was a time when whole building was designed. Someone put it on paper. Somebody put their dream into action and put it down and said, I am going to put this in motion. I'm going to make this dream into real life. And it was built. And you can also see that builder, probably when that was built, he had this notion that it was going to be this perfect thing, this perfect, beautiful thing. But as all perfectionists are able to do, they see that with any kind of creation, you also see the imperfections in it. And that it can be made better. See, that is what God is constantly doing with us. He's building us up all the time to be these mighty things, these elect that will charge for God, that will be warriors for God, that he could say is justified in his name. It says in the Bible that Jesus did not come for peace. He says, I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. He came with the truth. He came with the truth, and that by far is everything that I think that all Christians should treasure. So we can realize that we have a builder. That we have a mighty builder, and through him we have the power to do great things. This is my first verse of the week, but I'm going to read again. Is what then shall we do when we say these things? If God is for us, who is against us? He who did not spare his own son, but delivered him over for us all, how will he not also with him freely give us all things? Who will bring charge against God's elect? God is the one who justifies. We see all these people in the Bible, David and Goliath. David, being as imperfect as he was, still did amazing things for God. He was a man for God's own heart. Samson was the same way. Jesus is the same way. And he designed us that way. I encourage you all to see that. And if you give a chance, bring up the courage to talk to somebody about God. Let them know that they have a builder, they have a designer, that they have a potter that's constantly shaping them. And let them see that they have a God that loves them and a God who is mighty and can bring them out of anything. I hope you all have a great day, a great evening. This is the first verse of the week. I'll have another one coming up next week. Hope you all stay tuned. If you see this on our Crosswalk site for Crosswalk Community Church, please feel free to like us. And on there, besides my videos, we'll see Pastor Pete Santos. He will have his videos up as well. And we invite you to, if you have any questions about the Bible at all, please feel free to message us, post on our wall, and we'll be free to answer them. Me or Pastor Pete will be doing that. Thank you so much, and God bless.